There you go.
Okay, we'd like to go ahead and start this meeting. We realize that we're a little late with an invocation from James Opperman.
Pleasure to be with you all. Is there anything specific I can pray for y'all's meeting?
No,
Okay.
just guidance.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What do you want me to pray? Lord, we thank you for your kindness to us. We thank you for the privilege of living in Elbert County, Lord, and just the beautiful land we have out here and the wonderful people out here, Lord. I pray that as Board of Trustees meets this evening, Father, you give them wisdom. You guide their decisions, Lord. You would help them to humble themselves before you and to find your favor, Lord. Your word is clear that you oppose the proud, but you give grace to the humble. Lord, we want your favor. We need it, Lord. Pray that they would make decisions out of love for you and love for neighbor, Lord. Decisions out of righteousness and justice and mercy, Lord. And I pray that this town and this county would flourish as a result of their leadership here this evening and the discussions they're having, Lord. Thank you for your son, Jesus, who came and sought us and saved us and paid for our sins by his blood. He's our only hope. We trust in him and we come to you only in his name. In the name of Jesus, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
Mhm.
Okay, now we'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:12 p.m. So back 12. Kim, could you keep the roll, please?
Yes. Mayor Hart,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schaefer,
Here.
Trustee Smith is running late. Trustee Wineland is absent. Trustee Stahl, Trustee Shantz,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
There's on the agenda consent this evening. I'd like to make a motion to amend under public hearing item B for the fire resiliency map. Need to remove that. And this is because there's an online map that is interactive. The map that you were given earlier this evening, Josh printed out for us. It shows our responsibility here in the town of Kiowa. But you can go online and look at anything in the state.
And it also falls under A.
Oh, yeah, sorry, and it goes under in the ordinance 2026-03, amending chapter 18 of the Kiowa Municipal Code by the addition of a new article 17 to adopt by reference to Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code 2025 edition.
So is all of this orange the town, or what would be involved?
We will discuss that when we get to that
Okay,
matter.
sorry.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Sorry.
And then the other one is,
Okay, and we also need to go over to item C under general business. The municipal court judge need to remove that for this meeting. I have a motion to approve those.
so moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I need to make a roll call on
Mm-mm.
All those, yeah.
that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed say nay. Okay, motion passes. Bring those two items. Then we go on to public comment or approval of agenda.
No, that we just did that.
Okay. Well, we just removed those two items.
We made a motion. Oh, was it a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Not yet.
Oh,
So I'd like to make a motion to, or have somebody make a motion to approve the agenda with those two items removed for this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with those items removed.
My second.
okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That passes. Approval of the agenda with those two items removed.
Sasha, did you send Brandon Knox an email today?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now. Public comment. At this time, we'd like to open up to public comment.
Sasha, is somebody signing for public comment?
Don't you have someone online? Anybody online have public comment this evening?
No response.
Should I go ahead and read the public comment?
No, not if we're not having.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to item number 6, the work session presentation by Kim Boyd.
Actually, I'm gonna ask that we skip that for right now because the person who's supposed to be giving that presentation from DACRA Tech is not online yet. And they were giving that presentation. Brandon Knox is not here yet.
Okay. Then we'll go to item number 7, public hearing. This is on ordinance number 2026-03 that I just read, amending chapter 18 of the Iowa Municipal Code by the addition of a new article 17 to adopt by reference the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code 2025 edition and the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code map 2025 edition and providing penalties for violations. And Josh, our attorney, will be speaking on that.
Thank you, Mayor. So members of the board, as you know, this ordinance came before you at your last meeting. At that meeting, you all set it for a public hearing today, which is required by state statute in order for the town to be able to adopt the Wildfire Resiliency Code by reference. I hope you've had the chance, I hope you have read through the Resiliency Code to get an understanding of what it does and doesn't do. I'm going to provide just a general overview and then I'll open it up to questions that you all will be able to ask me. And then once we're done with that, we'll open it up to public comment. So the public can provide comment to you on it. And then you would go into a motion to approve or not approve. The Wildfire Resiliency Code map, which there's a copy, basically a zoomed in copy that was provided to you of the town. The code map is online. It is a map that basically you can go onto and type in an address and it will zoom you into that area and show you exactly what that particular property, where it falls within the classification of the fire intensity. All I did was zoom in on Kiowa and take a picture of that and put the legend on it. So this is not the official map. There's not a printed official map, and the map itself does update as conditions change. But that's done at the state level. It's not done necessarily by individual towns. But this just gives you understanding that the town of Kiowa falls within the moderate intensity zone, which is also category 2 underneath the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code. The Resiliency Code does a couple of things. One of the primary functions it does is it acts as a code that controls future building and construction, as well as alterations to certain existing buildings by requiring certain materials that are going to be more fire resistant. That is set forth in this code. And that would be something that would be enforced through your building department. So if someone comes along and files an application for a brand new building, the building department for the town of Kiowa would be reviewing the plans that are submitted, which includes materials, it includes site plans, says field layouts of what the land, an area around it would look like. And your building department would be in charge of making sure that those plans were to comply with the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code. The other component of it is an ongoing maintenance obligation. The way I have read this code is that it does not apply retroactively, or it doesn't apply to existing buildings as long as there's no material change to an existing building or the surrounding area. There are triggers that can occur that would make this code apply to what does exist today. And it's pretty clear on what those triggers are. And those are going to be, for example, underneath sections 101.5, which is additions and alterations. And so if you add 500 square feet or more to a building, then the code would apply to that addition. Roof coverings, exterior walls. So if an existing exterior wall, 25% of it or more is replaced, then this code would apply to that wall. And it would also apply to the vegetation that is basically existing right outside of those, addition area. The other big component of this is going to be, as I said, the ongoing maintenance part of it, which would come along with regulations that the town would put into place through code enforcement. Does it mean that the code enforcement officer for the town of Kiowa today would go to an existing home and tell the owner that they are required to remove a bush that exists within a no burn zone? That would really come down to how you as the board decided to adopt and also to enforce these codes, whether or not it would apply or whether or not you would make it apply to any future alterations to that property going forward. Those kind of fall into some policy questions that would come along once this was adopted. The other component is your ground truthing. And ground truthing is basically if someone wants to disagree with what the map classifies their property as. So as it shows on the legend of the map, the different zones of high intensity, moderate, and low. So if someone was to want to say that their property is actually low intensity, they could go through a ground truthing process. If we're using the state map and we're not adopting our own local map, which is for the town of Kiowa, basically recommended because the local map adoption process includes a lot of steps that would actually be probably more costly than the town would want to go through. So if an individual person wanted to go through the process of ground truthing, then they would, from my understanding, basically go through the state for changing their property. But that would be something we would have to look into maybe a little bit more at a later date. But for right now, that's pretty much the overview of the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code. I'm opening it up to you for questions for me.
I have a question. How does this benefit the town of Kiowa?
It doesn't. They're mandating it. They're not giving us funding to enforce it. It's a,
Well,
go
I
ahead,
mean,
Josh. You explain it in a better way than I will give it.
Yeah. I would say it would help create, especially in time, more fire resistant buildings. So it would make it less impactful if a wildfire was to come ripping across the prairie and through the grasslands and it was to hit one building, especially on a windy day. It would help the residents basically be more fireproof resistant. My understanding also is that insurance for private individual homeowners Some of the insurance companies are starting to look at whether or not there are the actual wildfire resiliency code in place and being enforced. And so that could be something that impacts your individual residents. From the code enforcement side of it, from the town, there are not financial funds put in place that are addition to anything that the town already receives. So that could be a detriment to the town. But it would really also depend on how far the town went on its actual enforcement from a driving around standpoint. The costs that are involved with reviewing plans for new buildings is already absorbed by the developers. The developers pay those. The town doesn't pay Safe Built to do reviews of applications for, anything that's happening that you've been reviewing so far. So there's not necessarily a big cost from a development standpoint. On top of that, from a maintenance side, there are possibilities to enter into intergovernmental agreements with the fire district, with the county, with basically any jurisdiction that has the authority to implement their own maintenance regulations for the jurisdiction of the town. And so you could work out, future agreements that deal with that. But what are the benefits? I mean, it's really supposed to be protecting the infrastructure of an existing town and its structures and making them more resilient and hardy against wildfires. That's the purpose of the code.
Kyle's got a better odds of tornadoes versus wildfires, but.
Okay, I have a copy here. It's 42 pages long. My understanding after reading all of this is that who's gonna enforce it?
Our code enforcement person.
Okay, so they have to be.
So there's different options available for that.
Okay.
One, it could be that the town relies on its own code enforcement. And again, there's different sides. If someone comes and says, I want to get a permit to do an addition to my building, that goes through the town's building department. The building department reviews those plans. The building department would be looking at the materials that are being provided as part of the application. The building department would be the entity that's deciding whether or not a permit is granted based on whether or not those materials meet not just these code requirements, but also your existing building code requirements.
I read also there's international building codes,
Yep.
is what they operate on.
Correct.
And then,
Not ours.
But then the other side of it is the ongoing maintenance concept. So once that building is actually built, whether or not the distances between the buildings and vegetation continues to exist, whether or not the materials that are used around that building continue to stay within the requirements of this code, that would actually come down to the town deciding whether or not it wants to use its code enforcement officials that it has in place already, or whether or not it wants to enter into an IGA with another governmental entity, such as the fire district or the county. So that's how you would go from an enforcement standpoint.
okay, so just to be clear, you're saying that you can, or that the county can choose whether or not to, to enforce this?
Not yours, and not at this time. But if the county and the town were to enter into an IGA that dealt with regulations, then yes, the county could enforce it on behalf of the town. If the town entered into an agreement that allowed the county to do that, which this does not exist right now.
Okay, just as an example, it says fences, which everyone has a wooden fence. So if you wanted, if your fence blew down in a windstorm, you would have to go to the town and get a permit to build a different type of fence because it's not allowing, well, it's just depends on where your fence is, but there are certain rules on where you could put a new fence. Now, like, there's a rule here that says fences located more than 8 feet from a habitable structure would not be approved.
Unless they met the building material requirements.
So so you would have to get your land resurveyed, like in Fawn Valley, if you have a fence that you want to put a new fence up because the old fence blew down, you would have to change your fence.
Material and type.
Well, and that and where you would put it, because I don't know what the rule was back in 1998 where you put a fence in Fawn Valley or some other area.
So if under this code, if there's an existing fence that's within 8 feet of the structure and it's existing today, it can continue to exist. If it was to be blown down and it didn't meet a non-conforming exemption, which is another part of your code. So therefore, basically, it says if your fence that existed then is blown down, you have to bring it into compliance with the code as it exists today. Then yes, the fence would have to meet the requirements of this, as well as the other requirements of your zoning code and building codes that already exist outside of this particular wildfire code. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you couldn't build a fence within 8 feet of the property. It would just mean that if you're building that fence within the 8 feet, then the materials that are being used are supposed to comply with what's inside this code, as well as all your other codes.
Okay, another thing is this packet here says that a person has to be well, I don't want to say it wrong, but they have to be it requires an official employee to be the
Administrator?
well,
The code.
the code enforcer.
Mhm.
It couldn't just be our code enforcer. It takes a different trained person. Is the way I read this is that it's gonna take a certain trained individual. And who's gonna pay to train that individual at such a high expense?
I'm wondering if since this is a state mandated
Mandate.
thing, if most code people are gonna just have continuing education and be updated.
I would guess not.
I mean, that's what they would have to do on their own.
They would have to do, and then we would have to incur the cost of that.
If it is state mandated, why are we discussing it?
It's open for discussion.
Well, well,
Because
It has to be adopted.
Well, we'll have to vote on that. We're just having a discussion and I think Chris from Kiowa Fire might be able to answer a lot of questions that we don't know. So-
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say I'm the expert on everything when it comes. to this.
his job is just to interpret
Yeah.
what the state brings down, and this is what the state, I agree. I think it's ridiculous. It's a unfunded mandate, as are a lot of things right now, and we don't have the capability of enforcing it.
And like I said in our last meeting, it's more of a quid pro quo than it is anything else, because it's you do this or else,
Yeah.
you know.
And my hardest challenge is, let's take the power line, let the one run right through here.
Yeah.
And they wanna induce a big fire hazard,
Mhm.
and yet, no, so. I mean, for sake of discussion, and I don't wanna just flat out say no, but I kind of wanna table it until we figure out exactly where this is going. And if it tabled for 6 months, it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
You see, I don't think we can wait that long.
We can't, or is there a deadline to get it? Here's the thing, though. There's a deadline to get it put in place, but
January.
they don't have any. No, it's not. They don't have any more capability of enforcing it on us right now than we have enforcing it on anybody else. They're putting it in place without putting people in place to enforce it on us. I mean, Chris could probably give more information to this.
But I would like to wait until public comment. is
Yeah.
open at that part.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Questions of the board still.
If
So
I-
to answer, I want to answer
Yep.
your question or try to. So you were asking a question on the code enforcement and specific. Did you find that in this?
Yeah, it says that the person has to be trained or. It's in here, it takes
So there's,
takes a certain person, it can't just be a county, it can't just be our code enforcer, or unless they go through a rigorous amount of training, which is extremely expensive, and I didn't know who or how that gets paid. It's called a code official,
so the code
or chief
official.
or whatever.
The code official is basically, it would be probably Kim, but there are provisions in here. It's because Kim, as town administrator, falls as the official of Greenwich City Code.
Yeah,
But
floodplain.
there is provisions in here that allow for Kim to basically deputize different officials to take different actions. So she could basically make the deputy code official from the building side safe built, whoever our safe built building official is. And that person would be in charge of all of the building review parts that are underneath this code for reviewing. Another code official could be your code enforcement officer, but it could be narrowed down to where it's just the site survey. It's not very hard to know whether or not a bush is too close to a building.
It's already in our code.
It's not too hard to know whether or not a tree is trimmed high enough off of the ground to meet these requirements. It's not too hard to know whether or not the material that's next to the house meets the site plan that was already approved by building. When there's ground truthing that starts to come involved, I do know there are more specialized areas, and there is probably some specialized training on some of those too. But I'm just saying it's not a one size fit all, and it's not necessarily that you have one person who's a code official and that official has to have the knowledge for everything. And I believe there's also provisions in here that allow for any kind of cost of testing and proof to be pushed off onto the developer or to the applicant as well. So it wouldn't be the town as a whole incurring all costs, just making you aware of that. So it's good to point that out and keep that in mind though,
And
definitely.
how do we enforce that?
The same way, which part though?
The code, the whole thing, this, how would you enforce this wildfire resiliency code? How is that gonna be enforced?
Well, I wouldn't enforce it.
What?
I wouldn't personally enforce it. It would be the town and you would enforce it, the town would enforce it the same way that it enforces any of its codes. And you do that through permit approvals, you do
Yeah, I
it
didn't
through
see that in
fines
here
and
anywhere
fees.
that said that the town administrator could enforce it. I read this whole thing. Is it in here that?
No, they just tell us we need to have somebody to enforce it, and then they lay it on us to figure out how we do it and where we get the money to do it.
And how you
Any
do
idea
it.
how much that costs?
It depends on how much you want to do and how far you go.
The building department already, does the building code, and then our code enforcement person would be the person after we adopt this. That would be enforcing everything else. And I think, if I remember right, there was a part in there about the state person would come out and do it.
Could, if you'll put it towards the state, my understanding is if you do that, then you give up more of your autonomy as the town to
Mhm.
Right.
standardize your own criteria for enforcement. It then becomes the state's ability to come in and,
Dictate how Kiowa's run,
well, yeah, dictate on. how
and
it's-
as far as that's concerned.
Just for the heck of it, I Googled today, does Elizabeth Fire have it? And they do not, according to what Google said today, but I don't know if that.
Elizabeth Fire did tell me that they plan on adopting it.
The fire department does. not the town.
The fire department adopted it,
So they,
but the town would have to adopt it too. It doesn't matter. They're saying the fire department, the special districts have to adopt it, the municipalities have to adopt it.
they have to.
That's what they're saying. They gave us all a deadline to have it done by.
Or what? What's the deadline?
So there's nothing in the code right now that creates a penalty on the town necessarily at this point in time.
This is true.
There's not anything in the code right now that says that the town doesn't adopt it, you're going to lose already provided funding, like for your highway funds. There's a gas tax that ends up giving highway funds anyways. There's different types of funding that come into municipalities from the state, from all sorts of different areas. There's nothing in this code or the statutes that penalize municipalities who are not adopting these at this point in time. One method of control is loss of grant funding. There's not something in the place right now that we've seen that says that if you don't adopt this, you will lose grant funding. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't put this basically on a list that says, if you have not adopted and you're not doing anything, you can't get future grant funding. So
When is the deadline to,
technically, the deadline to start enforcing it is July 1st.
of 2026, this July 1st?
Mhm.
Yep. The code said, or the statute had it for
April.
adopting on April 1st, with enforcement starting on July 1st. We brought this forward and it went onto your agenda in March. At that point in time, there was legislation that was being put forward to the General Assembly to extend the adoption period out until they were at that point in time talking about a year, but it ended up being shortened to basically December of this year. But that bill ended up freezing and it got killed. It didn't go anywhere. So the original adoption and enforcement deadline stayed the same, which is why at the last meeting, we set this for a public hearing today. So that way we're moving forward and able to stay within their timelines. Yeah.
So the ones who lose out on this, really. Cause this is the same deal as one last said at this board. Whoever it was from Safeville told us that we had to. We gotta get our international building code up to, I forgot what, we're a couple. Couple,
We were 5.
we're a couple years behind. Well. One kind of sat there and looked at it, and boy, Elbert County was gonna do, by God, we better get up there. Yeah. That like that, us saying yes. Changed the building cost on a house by 14%, because we said yes. We said, oh, absolutely, we'll do whatever.
I don't know how people.
But you do it.
It's just, it's, the thing is whatever we say here,
Mhm.
in a sense, it doesn't affect us. But it affects everybody,
No, it could affect you too,
I mean.
as a homeowner here in Kiowa.
Absolutely,
But a
but,
business owner, if you wanna build a new building.
Mhm.
and it's just
Or even
more,
have an existing building,
it's just
And if you
more,
wanna
it's like
remodel or anything like that. yes.
anything.
replacing the fence. You have a wood fence that worked perfectly fine for how many years it went through its life cycle, you gotta rebuild it. Now you gotta build something, you gotta build out of concrete, or
True.
something that doesn't catch on fire.
Well, that's why they build the low little split rail fences in all these new homes.
Mhm.
I didn't know that until I figured that out.
Yeah.
So
But
Josh, I know your position
it
is to
doesn't play-
protect the town and make sure that we're not in a liable situation. If they don't adopt it tonight, what I think that's what Mona's asking. If they choose not to adopt it, if they choose not to fall in line, what are the ramifications? 'Cause they have nothing to enforce right now. I mean, they'd have no way to enforce it right now. So is the town facing should they make the decision not to do it,
Well.
in your
I mean,
opinion?
It's hard to say exactly what would happen, what could happen. could have a lawsuit that was filed against the town by private residents that basically wanted a judge to issue an order that required you to adopt this because it's mandated by the state, so you incur the court cost and fees that come along with that.
Is it defensible? In your opinion?
Be one thing if he stood here at the
Can't really tell you.
podium.
Because it's so brand new and nothing has happened with it yet.
It's not just that, I just don't know how courts would go when it comes to this because of how things are
The
changing.
political environment, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
No, I mean, that's the main thing is really just the injunction part of it. The private side is insurance, again, I mean, that's one thing to look into. Is that really the town's responsibility? No, not necessarily, but that is one thing that can happen.
You're looking at everything all down the line from building codes, you've got your engineers, the studies you have to do, and then the type of materials that you have to use going forward. You know, it's gonna cost our people a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The houses wouldn't even sell.
No,
Yeah.
but I think what Josh is cautioning too is this is one of those prime opportunities for insurance companies to say, you know, if they don't jump on that bandwagon, we have an opportunity to hike their rates up because they didn't do it.
sounds like a
Or
double.
cancel, yes. And they've done it before.
One side, the building costs go up because of, you have to have special fire resistant stuff, and on the other side, your insurance could go down. Because you do have the code in place.
Yeah.
Or
And
they
then-
can cancel you altogether if you don't.
Yeah, and then what I'm hearing you say also is if we don't step in line, they could all of a sudden get a pair of teeth and say, now you're not getting any of the state funding.
Or future grant funding
Future grant funding is what I'm hearing.
is a potential option.
So.
Yeah. And they've already taken that away in areas too, so we know they have the ability to do that.
Is it okay if we listen to what Chris says before we vote?
Yeah. it'll-
Yeah, you have to. He's just giving you,
Right.
as your
You don't
lawyer.
have any questions for me on the code right now?
Okay.
I'm sorry to be ignorant, but
No.
could you explain an IGA? What does that stand for?
It's an intergovernmental agreement, so it's
Okay.
between government entities.
So we want to go ahead and open this up for public discussion
For public comment.
or public comment, sorry. Hey, Chris? Thank you.
Hello, everybody, council, mayor, trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak at this meeting. I want to start by saying that I was at the Marshall Fire, I was at the Government Peak Fire. I've seen fires take out entire towns in one day. I understand why the state is trying to develop this code. I understand their moral backing behind it. Unfortunately, the execution and maintenance is Swiss cheese. There are a lot of holes involved. Depending on what you guys decide to do with your intergovernmental agency agreement is really going to depict who's going to carry a lot of this liability and a lot of the burden of enforcement. A lot of areas have gone to the fire departments and asked them to be the ones to usher this into place. Many fire departments and other agencies have adopted this policy with the understanding that they have no way of how to fund it or how to enforce it, but they have accepted it. So it kind of creates a very unique area of gray area where people are willing to accept this. They just don't know how to make it happen. One of the biggest things about it is that there's too many holes in this document to make an actual structured plan without having someone kind of go out on a limb and, be the first one in the water. The biggest concerns that I have is that the agency having jurisdiction can make their own fee table. Well, what will that look like?
Your fee table.
Yep. So, and that's probably the biggest reason why I bring that up is that's probably gonna be the only way to recoup cost of having someone employed to oversee this program. Realistically, I don't see how a part-time person could handle this magnitude of a program. I do see it being at least one full-time person. At today's rates, I'm guessing 50 to 60K, just a ballpark figure. What level of fees would recuperate that amount of money?
And what would you charge a fee for?
Exactly. Top it off, it also gives the agency having jurisdiction the ability to stop work orders. one of the big things that we get concerned about is how are people going to find loopholes? For example, if you're remodeling over 25%, you're expected to go to the new code. Well, what's stop John Smith from modeling 18% this year, 18% next year, 18%, and make it a 5-year project to avoid the code? Technically, it would work, but it defeats the whole purpose of the code. With the enforcement of it, it's going to be extremely hard to enforce. I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody, but I go into a lot of houses, I go into a lot of construction sites, I see a lot of things firsthand from being on the public side of things. Codes enforcement is hit and miss. There are certain times where they get spot on, certain times people try to evade government entities and they live in areas that are very dangerous for themselves and their neighbors. Unfortunately, with some of the terminology they use in this and the definition of the different categories of fire risk, it's one of those things that you really, really have to interpret carefully. They consider 8 feet flames moderate. Well, I'm 5'4". If you're giving me an 8-foot flame, I don't consider that moderate. A lot. On top of that, they added local weather patterns into that. As far as I'm concerned, Colorado doesn't have a weather pattern. It changes every 10 minutes. So a lot of things that they were judging their decisions on making those maps, to me, would be null and void in our area. The fueled vegetation load and the topography would be the 2 biggest factors I would consider when looking at some of these things. But if this was to be placed on the fire departments, some of their qualifications in there is the amount of slope. Now, I'm sure I could figure it out, but I can't tell you what an 18% slope from a 40% slope looks like standing on the slope. So there'd be a lot of technology that had to be incorporated. Luckily, with the addition of LiDARs and different radar technologies, that could be done, but it'd be another expense. The biggest thing about this is the execution and enforcement. While I am completely okay with adopting the code, because I understand and personally have seen what happens when we don't, I just don't understand how we can physically and morally put it out there without more time to build a structure, vet the process, and then do almost a staggered rollout to test the waters. Unfortunately, I haven't found anybody in the fire service in the state that's willing to take that leap of faith. One of my big concerns is that I know a lot of the eastern districts have told them we'll adopt the code, but the enforcement's on the state. Well, I understand they did that for financial reasons. I personally think that could be a very negative outcome with having other people who live in an asphalt jungle tell you how you're going to live out here in the country.
Right.
I live in Idaho Springs. I've had my insurance dropped twice. There has not been a single wildfire within 50 miles of my residence. So I do believe this could be another caveat where insurance could use it as a reason to drop people, and that's one of the reasons why I'm for approving it. There are other factors involved in this as well. I personally don't see the construction materials being used as too big of a factor, but we also leave room for, they told the building inspector they're using these materials. How do we know that got brought in on the truck? How do we know they're actually being in compliance with these materials? Because at face value, vinyl looks like vinyl to me. I don't know what their temperature rating is without setting it on fire.
But in the code, it says though that it has to be an inspector for those items.
It does, but again, without having it tagged and properly labeled, unless he's there when the shipment gets dropped off, it's gonna be very hard for him to assume that.
See that?
And our code enforcement person doesn't go inside. She can't go inside. She only can enforce to what is visually accessible outside. So,
And the building inspectors go inside, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that if you guys did do an inter-government agency agreement with the fire district, unfortunately, the fire district is grant dependent. But we are always underfunded. One of the biggest grants we get is called the Disease and Safety Prevention Grant. It usually allows $20,000 every other year to the fire department to buy gear to protect ourselves with cancer. That has already openly been said that if you're not meeting the Colorado DFPC guidelines, you do not qualify for that grant. So that means that costs the fire department up to 4 to 5 sets of bunker gear every 2 years that we just would no longer qualify. And that's just one of the grants that they've already put stipulations on.
Because of this code.
Not because of this code, they actually did it for reporting sites. Completely off topic, but a lot of fire departments weren't doing their paperwork. Every time they run a fire call, they're supposed to do a report. And that data gets used for analytics for the state to build their programs, figure out what needs funding, other things like that. A lot of departments weren't doing that. So one of the ways the state got compliance was saying, hey, you're not getting free money anymore from grants unless you do this. They openly said that this definitely qualifies to be in the disease and safety grant, but not necessarily all the federal grants. But I do know that that is one grant that we get every 2 years that makes a big difference for our frontliners. responders. So that's something that you'd have to navigate the waters with if you did get your interagency agreement.
We're very much grant dependent too. 59% of our budget is grants. So,
The only thing that I personally thought of sitting up late at night staring at the ceiling is that splitting the cost might be the best way of doing it. If the town of Kiowa, the county of Kiowa, or sorry, the county of Elder County and the fire department could work together, but it's the same magnitude. But again, it's gonna hit everyone in their pockets. Not adopting it, it's gonna cost money. Adopting it, it's gonna cost money. It's just where do you wanna be when everything falls out? I can tell you when my insurance got dropped, it took me over 2 months to find a new agency that insured me simply because I was dropped for a while at risk. And I don't want anyone to have to go through that.
Oh, I misunderstood you. I thought your rates dropped.
No, my
Mm-mm.
insurance policy was dropped. I had
Mm.
0 coverage for 2 months.
insurance companies jump all over these things, either start charging more or to drop you.
And I guarantee you they're gonna use this as a very key example of reasons they can get rid of something. So I personally do believe I understand the reasons for adoption. It's the execution and the maintenance. That's truly gonna be the uphill battle. You guys have any questions for me?
Think our ratings too high. I mean, hell, where the Yelp loses up on the hill with pine trees.
But that comes into another source of the map truthing. The local agencies can create their own maps, which may be a way to make it more appeasable to local residents. But then we have to go through the process of mapping the entire district, the entire town of Kiowa, which I can only imagine would cost 3 times as much than to just use their maps. But again, that map was derived off of data from someone sitting behind a computer, not somebody who's actually been out here and seen these hills, seen the vegetation load, or even seen the fires that rip through these areas.
Once again, Chris, what did you say other departments or towns have adopted it?
So I talked to a couple other fire agencies east of us, and they told me that they have adopted the code, but they had their council send a letter to the state saying that they aren't gonna be responsible for enforcing it, that that'd be the state's responsibility. I'm not sure legally if that was something that would work or if it just went to a shredder, but they said that that they personally did not have the funds, means, or capability of enforcing it at all, but they did adopt the code. Because as everyone said, they're worried about losing funding versus the adoption. And, you know, departments that operate on less money than us further out east, 20K is literally 50% of their operating budget. So it scares them, I think, a little bit more than some of the larger agencies out here that have a little bit more backbone, a little bit more structure to combat some of these things. But so far, I haven't found any agency that has straight up said no to the policy. They've all just basically either postponed making a decision till the last moment, or they're trying to make some little caveats to make it where it's appeasable to them. With the ground truthing, it can become very, very costly to have some come out and actually verify individual properties, lots, developments. But I could definitely see a large developer maybe taking that option to try and reduce their costs if they're building, 950 homes.
I do wonder if the climate of this will change after the general election. I've kind of just been sitting back watching and seeing what time does with this,
So if we take
with
our
the changing
time
of the guard.
and postpone adopting this.
I don't know if
we
I would
adopt-
postpone adopting. I'm with Chris
if
and
we
adopting
adopt
it.
it, but it's still like a working document. So rolling forward with every new thing that's gonna be coming out on it.
Yeah. Are you,
Do you guys have any questions for me? Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for your information, but your experience comment first.
Okay, anybody else have public
John.
comment? John?
John Hill, Rangeland News, the presentation that Michael gave to the Callahan Fire Protection District in March. Basically reiterated what you just heard, that the leverage, I guess, to pass this is that money, that if you choose to postpone or not to adopt, that you lose the opportunity to acquire certain money. And that, as you've just been told, that's already happening. It's not something that is possibly going to happen. It's already happened. Michael did say in March that In zone 1, you must remove all flammable materials for a certain number of feet from the wall to the lawn or whatever it is. In zone number 2, if I'm, check to see if I'm mistaken, you have to remove 25 feet of flammable materials from the wall to the lawn. In other words, from your house to your lawn has to be 25 feet. I believe that's what we reported in March to the County Fire Protection District. Third thing I was going to say was that regarding the enforcement, what I did here at the Albert County presentation given by Kara from the Elizabeth Fire Protection District, the enforcement would be both local fire protection district and state and town. So my question to you is whatever decision you make to adopt or to postpone, please also make a decision about whether or not the town administrator will be your enforcing person, or whether you'll be handing it off to the county. I'll be asking the same question tomorrow at the county meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like Chris's idea of trying to do an IGA with this.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, go ahead. Anybody online like to make a comment as to this code? Seeing none, we'll close public comment this time.
Yeah, I like. I like the idea that Chris came up with, maybe trying to do an IGA with the county. And the fire department. And I wonder if we could even spread that out further with Elizabeth and have a code enforcement person for the area instead of just the town. I mean, if we adopt this code, we're gonna need somebody. But what if we work together? I don't know what that, I don't even know what that looks like, but good idea. Share the cost.
True, I think we need to check with our own code enforcement person to see if she is already in the works of training for this program.
Yeah, cause like I said, in my field, there's technicians that have to go through continuing education and they have to pay for it themselves. And they just absorb that cost because it's what you do for your job. And I wonder if there are gonna be other code enforcement people doing that. I don't know if our code enforcement.
I know our code enforcement, it would not be 100% in. Because like I said, if there's enforcement that's required inside of a structure, she would not be able to do that.
Oh, right.
So we can add this specialization there that she has to do now, that now she has to go get training, and then she's gonna distribute the cost of that amongst all her clients. And then we're gonna have to go to Safe Built to do the internal or the review part of it, which would be increased to their contract.
But to be clear, again, Safe Built already does inspections. Safe Built, when someone files an application, they're reviewing all the application materials. They should be doing inspections before they approve any permits. So it's not as if it's an additional step on the building side.
Because they do look at the building materials ahead of time.
Yep.
What is supposed to be coming in now, you're right. What comes in and what they say is coming, but
But that applies no matter what.
correct.
They have methods that they follow in order to try to the best of their abilities to make sure that what is going into a building meets the requirements of your current code. For example, if from plumbing, if you put plumbing in and you don't get your inspection before you cover it, and then you have an inspection, the inspection will tell you, uncover it. I have to see it. Those are steps that they take. There's no difference there. So when it comes to the building material side, I think the best concern I've heard, not best, the concern that's really applicable is cost of materials. So will that increase cost of materials? I can't tell you yes or no to that. But from a time standpoint, it's not going to change anything from what your building inspectors are already doing. From a code enforcement standpoint, which would be the actual site plans, so are trees being trimmed up to the height they need to be? Are bushes staying at least however many feet away from the building they need to be? Is the round material that's around this building what it's supposed to be? That would fall onto our code enforcement side, who's actually driving around looking, but that's all external stuff anyways. She would just need to be looking for it. The biggest issue I would think would come from a keeping track of when this code would apply to a property or a building and when it doesn't. Right now, this does not apply to anything that exists. So if you have a gardenia bush sitting next to your house, this can be interpreted by the town if the town adopts this code and keeps the power as the code official. The town has broad authority to interpret the language that's in here in a way that it deems as how it wants to enforce. And it can say a gardenia bush that already exists by a house can continue to exist as long as that house doesn't hit a trigger, which a trigger would be someone wanting to add 500 square feet, someone wanting to replace 25% of their exterior wall. It could also say that it only applies to those specific areas. So from a finance standpoint, a money side, a lot of districts will kick it back to the state. But then the state's going to come in and it's going to enforce this the way that it thinks it should be enforced. If you keep it with the town, you have more authority to interpret your codes and enforce them in a way that meets the town's general needs. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when you're making those decisions on whether or not you're adopting it, whether or not you're going to, name Kim as your code official, which Kim then can pass around those duties that are underneath here of a code official to the building inspector, to code enforcement. The other thing is you do have international building code in place. International is just the name of basically a really United States localized more than anything. Building code, residential code, plumbing code, electrical code, energy code. There are all these codes. They're just codes that have been created by professionals across the board that basically municipalities can adopt because they meet all of the needs. This is just the International Wildfire Code that deals with these issues. That's what I have right now for it. So
Anybody else?
John, we already closed public comment.
Yeah, I know, board. Anybody else?
No, John had his
Oh, sorry.
hand up. And I told him we closed it.
Okay, so, should we move on to?
there's your motion.
Sorry, yeah, a motion to approve. Ordinance 2026-03. Amending chapter 18 of the Iowa Municipal Code by the addition of a new article 17 to adopt. By reference, the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code 2025 edition and the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code map edition of providing penalties for violations. Make a motion to adopt this. And make a motion to adopt. Second.
The deadline was June.
Deadline was actually April, I thought,
To adopt it, the deadline was in April. To start enforcing, it's
July
July
1st.
1st. Yep.
Any second? That's a squeaky one.
No, I was just agreeing with that. I,
Oh.
in good conscience, I just. I want more time to understand it more. I kind of agree with him. Let's see what happens as things play out, the election and whatnot. In good conscience, it seems as though if we adopt it, we're being penalized. If we don't adopt it, we're being penalized. So, I just am not sure.
Are they gonna withhold grants, Kim?
Well, and see, that's the thing.
I can't think of, I mean, I can't think, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything that we
Like
apply
the
for that's
parks
directly.
or-
No, the parks come from HUD. They're federal and they come from your lottery dollars. Not the state.
The. Sorry, my brain's going back and forth between procedural and then talking about this, because there is a motion on the floor. So there's been a motion and there's no second at the moment, is that correct?
That's correct.
That is
Alright.
correct.
So then you would say motion fails.
Okay.
I got a question.
And then we can move on, but so the motion fails,
Fails.
so the motion's not on the floor anymore. The grant applications that for funding that we currently have in place, those are based on criteria that have already existed.
Mhm.
We're
That's
talking
correct.
about future grant funding
Yes.
ability. They could tie it to this adoption. They could say, you know,
I'm worried about insurance,
Yeah.
Well,
you know?
It's a catch-22.
Here-
I mean, it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't.
If we made a motion and left it where it doesn't go into effect till June 30th, before July 1st, June 30th.
It's 6 weeks.
But if something does come up between now, then we can. If we need to. Unravel it,
I won't be at the June meeting, I.
that's
But you
just
know.
more bad. I mean, I'd make the motion to adopt it. Where it goes into effect. June 30th, but
But here's the thing, we're not gonna be ready to enforce anything by June 30th. And if we're not ready to enforce, are we have required to do reporting on any enforcement or anything like that at this point? Can Chris answer my question?
what was your question?
Is if they adopt it and we have no process officially put in place for enforcement by the enforcement deadline, is there required reporting to the state that we're enforcing it in any form or fashion where they're monitoring our enforcement of such? I asked that of Chris, if there's a report that they have to submit.
My understanding is that the state will be tracking who is adopting and what enforcement is being done, if there is or if there is not.
But again, how's that gonna happen? Right. I mean, that's all I know right now.
So sorry. If we adopt it now though, Josh, and we move forward and try to get together with the county or the Kiowa Fire District.
Any IGA would come later on.
Yeah, it doesn't have to come right now at all.
So,
Later on.
yeah, so it's like a rolling document. Add it as you go, make up your own rules as you run, right?
When changes it, and you are allowed. The board can open back up public comment if it wants to.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Okay. Would we like to open up public comment then? We'll go ahead and open public comment one more time. Sean?
Normally, I'm not such a busybody, sorry. The motion could be pending an intergovernmental agreement regarding code enforcement with the county and with the fire districts in the county, not fire districts in the county. We will adopt this code at a certain date.
I like that because it gives us time to try to come up with some sort of IGA and the wording, and gives us also time to
plan how we're gonna do it.
You can also adopt it and do an IGA later. You can adopt it now. Let's just put this out there. Right now, you have a property maintenance code. That property maintenance code already has specifics that you as individual residents of the town and all residents of the town are supposed to be following. It deals with weeds, it deals with heights of grass, it deals with trees, it deals with trees above sidewalks, it deals with trees with inside the, between the sidewalk and the right of way. How much that is being enforced already is a option of the town. The town can really kind of take liberties on how much it prosecutes its own code. You don't want to just adopt something and then completely ignore it because it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, you can adopt something and then you take steps that you going forward as a town to create policies and procedures that make sense for the enforcement side of it. Getting a fee schedule in place that deals with, permits that come in, applications. Getting a fine schedule in place that makes sure that the fines are going to be applied, to everyone applicably. Clarifying how and when this site improvement maintenance obligations apply. Like all of that can definitely come along later. Or you can not adopt this. And let me also be clear, I don't have a personal opinion on it. Just so y'all are aware, I don't have a personal opinion.
Josh is very neutral.
Just
on it.
because the state has said, mandated that everyone's supposed to do it. From a personal standpoint, I'm not gonna say yes or no. From a professional standpoint, I'm gonna tell you, there's nothing in the state statutes right now that have an automatic fine or penalty against you. There's nothing in the state statutes that automatically say you're gonna lose all this money. There's nothing there. Can things happen? Sure. Can some from the public file, or a developer even, or even insurance, file a lawsuit? Sure. That, seek to force the town to adopt it. Yeah, those things can happen. Questions on whether or not we should adopt it because is it perfect today? Not every code is perfect. It's not uncommon that we do amendments to code sections as you learn, as you're realizing things that need to be changed or tweaked. Policies that are adopted after ordinances are done in order to flesh out how maybe a specific procedure will be followed. Whether or not the town even wants to enter into an IGA with districts, fire districts, county, whether you want to, that's something y'all can definitely continue to discuss, have study sessions on. And that can always come after you adopt this if y'all did decide to adopt it tonight. If you adopt it tonight, you're at least able to go onto the list of municipalities that have adopted it.
Right.
And that list is what will be going to the state. And as long as you're enforcing it or taking steps to enforce it, and as Kim, you've put forward, is the state has a lot of financial issues, so I don't know how they're going to be tracking everything specifically. Doesn't mean that they won't, but that's out there. But I mean, just saying that if you do adopt the code tonight, we can continue to tweak it. We continue to work on it, on how you're going to enforce it. And you might want to enforce it differently than how Elizabeth enforces it. You might want to enforce it differently than how Kiowa Fire District is going to enforce
We
it.
don't have to enforce it the way it states in the code.
You do, but there's flexibility and interpretation.
Okay.
Like how I read it, I can definitely find loopholes within inside the code on how it talks about retroactivity. Whether or not it even applies to a parcel, if we were to interpret it as it only applies to parcels once they hit a trigger. So therefore it does not apply unless that trigger happens, and how narrow that trigger actually applies to the building.
Right.
I didn't read in here that if you do a 500-foot addition, that the entire structure all of a sudden has to apply. that 500-foot addition must comply. So the materials used for it and what's immediately on the outside does. But I didn't read in here that we would have to interpret it as saying that the entire building all of a sudden has to be compliant. Elizabeth might want it to be that way. Parker might want it to be that way, but maybe Kiowa doesn't. So again, there is flexibility in this code. Those holes, that non-clear word for word, you shall take step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we call that is ambiguity and loopholes. And it gives us flexibility on how we interpret things. So just letting you all know that and keeping that in mind for y'all.
A question. Excuse me, pardon my throat. Is this our one and only chance to either adopt it or to opt out? And if we do adopt it, if things change, you know, with elections and whatnot, can there ever be a point where we could say, okay, we don't need to do that anymore? Or if we adopt it, is it like forever and always?
You can always repeal an
Mhm.
ordinance. If you, yeah.
Right?
He said, I know that's right. We've repealed ordinances before.
Yeah, if you decide not to adopt it, then you can table it. You can, basically do a motion that you're not going to adopt it. In fact, I don't even think you need to do an motion saying you're not going to adopt it.
Just don't do anything.
You just, you don't do anything.
But if all of a sudden the state decides that they want to do something about it, then we're like, whoop, guess we better do it then, huh?
Yeah.
And the only other thing I'm afraid of is insurance companies trying to pull fast and say, well, the state's doing this thing and these folks here ain't doing it, so we're gonna drop them or raise their
We don't
rate.
need that.
So I'm,
Well, we don't need the state coming in and telling us how to do it either.
yeah,
You know,
so, but if we adopt it now, then like you said, we can keep it in-house and we can do our own enforcement, how we like.
And you would need to be taking steps to enforce it, but you might interpret language more narrow than how another jurisdiction would interpret it.
But we can still enter into an IGA that shares a specific person, right? What do you think?
yeah, but we don't have to do that right now. That's what
Right,
Josh
right,
keeps
yeah.
emphasizing. None of that is really what's being considered today. What's being considered today is simply, should we or shouldn't we?
Yeah.
And you've got to weigh both sides,
Or maybe not.
are we or are we not, period. There's pros and cons, whether you like them or not. They say pro, and you may not like that pro, but you're forced with that pro. Because if you don't, then you know what I mean?
You like lima beans? You like asparagus, 'cause right now you're trying to pick between the two.
Yeah.
like-
What's the lesser of the two evils?
Lemon. Oh, that's so.
Reluctant, I mean, I think. As much as it pains me to say this.
Yeah.
It's probably better that we're on the
List.
list than on the other list. I hate it. I mean, to think that I just want to follow the leadership that comes out of the Golden Dome right now is asinine, but.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, that's where I'm at. I was the pains of it, because,
Well, we can't enforce it, so
well,
I don't know.
and I think. That's where the next step is, later we got to figure out how we're going to handle that part of it, but.
Step one, I think, is adopting it, and then step two is figuring out how we're gonna adopt it. But by saying that we'll adopt it, then that gets us on the
On the
attaboy
good
list.
list.
I
On
guess,
the attaboy list.
Then later, go down a list of what's most important to us with getting IGAs in place.
Right.
And, how we're gonna enforce it. And what it's gonna take to enforce it,
Right, so for the
and
back,
who's gonna administer.
Don't look at me.
I mean, it's just. Around, but
We'll work through it.
Well,
We just work
if
through
we-
it like
if
we always
we
do.
adopt it,
Hmm.
it's up to us to enforce it, correct?
Right.
So we have that leverage on how we want to enforce it.
Yeah, you'd rather be making those decisions.
Yeah, we'd rather be doing that than having the state come in
Yeah.
and mandating for us.
So on that note, I guess I'll make a motion to adopt it.
I will reluctantly say.
So there was a motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2026-03 in the new chapter 18 of Iowa Municipal Code. Do I want to read that whole little paragraph again?
No.
And then a second by Trevor. So the motion passes.
No.
No,
Oh, no, not yet. Okay,
that's for discussion.
sorry. Any more discussion on this?
I think we just did.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay.
No,
And does this one need to be a hold?
I think it was the
Do we need a poll vote? Josh, you want a poll vote?
No, it was 4 yes, 1 no.
Yep.
So motion passes.
All right, motion passes. Okay, shall we move on to our, sorry, ladies. For Albert County Republican Special Event Liquor Permit. Are you, what you're here for? Come on up.
Oh, geez, jeepers. Sorry to make y'all wait.
First.
I know. I was thinking that about
Yeah,
halfway
I know,
through
that's-
that discussion.
Sorry.
We didn't
Thank
anticipate
you,
all that.
Chris.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris. Appreciate your input.
I had to grab a snack.
And now your teeth are all stuck together. Yeah.
You need some water?
No, I'm okay, thank you. I got it down.
We have bottled water.
I'm okay, thank you.
Go ahead and state your name and
We'll just talk a little bit about the thing. Okay, my name is Kayla Walker. I'm a resident of Iowa and Albert County. I am here representing the Albert County Republicans. I'm here to ask for the special license liquor permit for our annual Lincoln Day dinner that we've held for many, many years. Right here, yeah, at the fairgrounds. The only thing that's changing is location, at the ag building because there's wedding at the other one. We have worked with the county, we have our complete packet. I have been the bartender there, this will be my 4th year there doing it. We will complete the new training instead of just the standard tips that was in place. They have that new training that can be done virtually online, so that will be held by myself and other bartenders that will be there. We will have stamps on hand to ID those that are 21 and older. They will be available for, drinks will be available for purchase with a ticket. And you know, coffee repeat year after year after year. So, yep, it's the big annual fundraiser, the Lincoln Day dinner to help fund Albert County Republicans and support our Republican Party in our county.
Yeah.
How many people come to it?
It's about 150. 250. 250. This is gonna be catered by Smoky Trail Barbecue,
What's the date on that again?
May 30th. Get your tickets.
all right, any more questions? Is there a motion to adopt
Or proof.
or approve? Sorry.
So moved. Second.
All those, should I ask, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Congratulations.
Don't start anything on fire.
Yes.
Deal.
Yeah, we don't have any
Our
enforcement
techniques
yet.
are for later.
Town is not fireproof yet.
No, it's not.
Away from the flammable alcohol, right?
Right.
Goodness gracious.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Do it on future agendas.
I have alcohol. Oh. Oh, did I misinterpret that? I'm sorry.
Uh,
Move them to, prior to any
Yeah.
controversial subjects that might be coming up.
Yeah, bigger discussion.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I think it was a good educational experience for them.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a great
Yeah,
way of keeping people involved, seeing what you'll actually do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness
We're
gracious.
gonna move on to general business.
It's weird.
It's that,
Okay, here.
Yes.
no, so he texted me, he waited in, the waiting room for, he said about 20 minutes and he had a dinner planned, so we had to go to dinner, so he's gonna have to reschedule to another.
So we'll table it.
We're gonna table that, yes.
Yes. Okay, so the speed enforcement program by Glenn Theriot from DACA will be tabled until a future date.
Mhm.
Okay. And then now we can move on to general business.
Um,
Yeah,
the CML conference is next month.
endorsed.
And because I was not voted in during the general election at last year's conference, it came afterwards. I have to go back on the ballot this year for a full term, much like a few of you guys. So, yes, all of the small community district divisions are up for election this year. So one of the requirements to put in my application in my packet is a agreement by the board again.
Yeah.
For me to do it. So that's what that letter is, and I just need your endorsement for that.
I agree, endorsed.
We need to make a motion.
I need a motion.
Oh, so moved.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Yep, I.
Opposed, say nay. I'll say aye.
Everybody's ready to go home.
I know.
No, it's okay.
He got hung in traffic. I'm like, oh, all the nights you're gonna get hung.
Yeah.
All right, so Kim's endorsement is passed. Ordinance 2026-05, an ordinance of the town of Kiowa, Colorado, amending the town's 2026 budget and appropriating additional funds. Can you speak to that?
Yes, we got a few things going on here. You all are aware that we were awarded the incentive funding for Josh to do those code revisions that were really needed. We were approved for the $252,000 for the Kiowa Housing and Infrastructure Readiness Initiative program. And those required match requirements. So we need to appropriate funds. I could not put those in a budget this year because I didn't know if we were going to be awarded those grants or not. So now that we know that we've been awarded those grants, the match requirement has to be appropriated and the budget amended to account for that. As well, there has been much discussion in this office, especially with my absence. Not that my absence made any difference because it was just as busy when I'm here as it is when I'm not here. Bringing in a part-time municipal administrative assistant. They would be no more than 24 hours a week at max of $20 an hour. And with those variables, we no benefits. We felt that that could be funded throughout the rest of the year for $13,400. So that has to be appropriated and shown in the budget. And let's see. There has been a lot of discussion, especially Tim and I, who have been spending a lot of time up in Denver and at various state and CML functions together to actually just pull the trigger and get a town vehicle so that our vehicles are not incurring all of that maintenance and road wear doing this. So I've talked to Brett over at Who Motors. He's got a vehicle that he's holding over there right now till we have this discussion tonight. And we would be appropriating the 14,800 needed to purchase that vehicle. That vehicle would stay at town hall all the time. It is not used to go anywhere else other than for town official business.
And are you the only driver?
No, it would mean that whoever is going in that vehicle, whether Tammy's a volunteer, but all of you fall under our insurance. But if you drive the vehicle, if there's a function that town trustees are going to, and you're carpooling in it, you have to do the required SURSA training to drive a town vehicle. So we already have it as part of our required curriculum every year. The guys, I just said the boys, the guys have the shop vehicles that they have to take the defensive driving courses for. I think it's every 3 years that we have to actually do it and renew it. But all 4 of us do all the training together. So we all stay consistent in all the required training, no matter what it is. But it would be adding it to the town's insurance policy and who those drivers would be.
We could absorb that.
Hmm?
It looked like we could absorb that pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. It's easy enough. At the point where we're at right now,
Yeah.
or now, it's easy to absorb that.
I think it's a great idea because, like Tim said, we're using our own personal vehicles.
Is that full coverage, the 1,200? Does that include hail and?
It's full coverage on all our town vehicles. Yeah, we don't have liability on any of our town vehicles. They're all full coverage.
And there's definitely a few policies that have been adopted related to vehicles and
Mhm.
operation.
Then we adopted those back in 23, didn't we? Town vehicle use, okay.
Yeah.
Is there any motion in? To amend the 2026 budget?
You would do a motion to,
Adopt
yeah,
the
to
ordinance.
approve and adopt the ordinance.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance or adopt 2026-05, an ordinance of the town of Kiowa, Colorado, amending the town's 2026 budget and appropriating additional funds?
So moved.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Jonathan outlined.
Can I say something? The audit, is that online to the public for 2025?
The audits are all online.
Okay.
You're talking the budget audits?
Yes,
Yep. No, mine.
and also the 2026 budget, is that online also?
Yeah.
To the public?
That was.
They're all open to the
Well,
public.
yeah, they're the ones that are adopted. Yeah, I know it was adopted.
Yeah.
They just have to click on the little
Okay.
thing for it. Okay, staff reports.
All those in favor?
Sorry.
Done.
She gets excited. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay.
Sorry, what was that for?
That was ordinance 2026-05, adopting that ordinance, amending the town's 2026 budget and appropriating additional funds for the year, what Kim just explained to us.
Did we vote on the employee, the part-time employee? Or
It's all in the same ordinance.
Oh,
Yeah. They're all included in the budget amendments, all of them.
If you want a little discussion on that, I was the one that brought it up to Kim and Sasha both because they do so much and they need the help.
so with what days or how many?
Up to 24 hours a week. Up
So
to
it do-
$20 an hour is what Kim just explained.
Okay.
No benefits. None of our
No
part-time
benefits, yeah.
positions. We don't pay for benefits for part-time position.
And is that gonna be put on the county or the town website to hire somebody for that?
We actually, yeah, had it out.
Yeah, it's been, okay, it's already been out.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor say aye. I already did
You
that.
already did that.
Yeah,
We
it's right.
passed, it's all good. Sorry, I'm just reviewing.
It's okay.
All right, now on to the staff reports. Myself, I met with the seniors again, of course, I meet with them once a month. They are meeting with, coming from the dads about trying to help them get some work done on the building over there, like they're gonna be painting the inside, replacing the carpet, putting in some new electrical and some new, little AC units in there to help cool down the front of the bedroom, because it gets really hot. So that's all I got from them. Myself, last month I received one scholarship to go to the CML annual meeting in Westminster,
The conference.
the conference, CML conference.
Mhm.
I'll be up there June 22nd through the 25th. What is that? It's the Colorado Municipal League Annual Conference. And they have different workshops that you can attend up there. So Kim and I'll be up there.
Hmm.
Right, a week.
Yes.
I think anybody else have anything that we need to be aware of?
So I guess I'm not technically on there for the reports, but for the clerks of continuing education,
I need to add you on
for our summer institute, I also got a scholarship to attend this. Or I received a scholarship to attend the institute this summer.
There you go.
Okay, so I should be getting my, can't apply till August. But I will be with these classes, I'll be getting my, certified clerk, my first level of certified clerk.
CMC.
My CMC, my
Mhm.
certified municipal clerk. Yeah, designation, so working towards my master clerk.
MMC.
My MMC, I know. So I'm
I've put that in a lot of signature blocks.
I know, so I'm gonna have CMC. So I can apply in August. You have to have been in for a full 2 years for that. So I'll take my second year of summer classes. So.
And it did use out online.
No, it
Mm-mm.
is an intense 1 week
Yeah.
thing, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for a week, and by the time the week's done, your brain is really, really tired. So
Well, thanks for doing that.
yeah, it's good though. I mean, you're really tired at the end, your brain is full, but you learn so much. It's really cool.
Where are they holding it this year?
Fort Collins. Yep. Yeah, so,
And you just stay up there.
Mhm.
That would make sense.
yeah, because you start, like I said, you're 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. It's, you even have class over lunch. You don't, you take a break.
Okay. All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to the town attorney.
No big updates other than the planning commission. At the last planning commission meeting, we went through the zoning code update, or we started to. And I basically got them rolling along with what they're looking for and what they're reviewing, so that way at this next planning commission meeting next week, we'll be able to go through all of the revisions that I've made to it, so that way they can comment and confirm that yes, it's what they, we're recommending, or basically all that stuff. So hopefully after that one, we'll be able to get over here back in front of y'all. But it's about 120 pages when it's all put together, so it is a chunk of work. The planning commission, especially Julie, was very appreciative of the fact that she now had a drafted code that had section numbers that related back to
Wasn't
section numbers.
Pieced together like a patchwork quilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, she appreciated the organized.
Everyone at first was definitely a little bit like, what are you doing to me? But as we started to go through it, they started to really understand why we were doing what we were doing with it. And they were very appreciative of that. So that is where I have them right now.
All right, town administrator.
Oh, see, we're gonna take that grant update off there for right now. I will have a grant update for you at the next meeting, but it's not one that I can give right now. So moving on, the second one, huh?
Saying it's a little teaser.
It's a little teaser.
Little preview.
It's a little bit of a teaser there.
There's gonna be a grant.
Yeah. The second one, I would like to go back and revisit what we did at the last meeting regarding my employment contract. And I'll will tell you this, I do appreciate tremendously the support that you all gave me regarding that amendment to that contract. But I've done some soul searching and some research and some fact finding since then. And I have developed my own concerns about what we passed with that. And what could potentially be some sort of ramification back to the town should anybody choose to try to take cause with it, okay? Create cause with it. And I would like to have you all give Josh the leeway to have more conversation with me on the topic so we can find a more, I don't know what the word is for it.
I can enter into more negotiations
Yeah.
with you on behalf of the town. This is one of those weird situations where I represent the board, y'all are my
Yeah.
client, Kim's not. This is a contract that is private and personal to her, professionally to her. So I can't give her legal advice. I can't give her advice that her own attorney would give her. But I can negotiate on behalf of the town. So if there is a clause that Kim is putting into the contract, you know, I can on behalf of the town say, well, how about we consider it this way? You know, and you
I'm in
know,
favor of
There
that.
could be more collaboration.
more collaboration that's involved.
I mean, because you work for the betterment of the town.
Yeah.
I agree. And yes,
It's for the town, so.
but any kind of incentive program or merit-based anything, we need to make sure that it doesn't affect the town in any, we try to look at it from all angles, you know,
Sure.
what could somebody look at that and take cause with? We have to think outside the box. We have to think ahead. We have to evaluate things that have happened in the past. And
Budget and appropriation.
yes, a lots of things. So I just want to be very cautious. My job is for the betterment of the town. And I don't want to unknowingly do something that's going to cause problem for the town. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on those grants, let me give you, for example, depending on what grant it is, it could cause problem where we're not able to give an incentive based off that grant. And because you did, that could cause you to have that grant taken away or not get another one. So there's things like that to consider. And
the time of reviewing.
in the time of review, yeah, it goes a lot deeper. So I just would like more time to go back and take a look at that closer and for Josh to be given the ability to collaborate with me on those things.
Good favor.
So, would we have to just make a motion to do this?
Or just
to
a
allow-
Consensus, just consensus, general direction, telling you to
Yeah.
So is
do what we
everybody,
do.
Yeah,
is everybody on the same track?
Yes.
To give Josh permission to negotiate for us?
And it'll always come back to y'all, you know. Anything we come to, will come to y'all for review, obviously. So I don't get to make decisions on y'all's behalf.
thank you. Next thing I have on here is ECOG, Project Smile Senior Meal Program Assistance. Myself, Elizabeth, the county, and Simla got a letter on May 7th from ECOG. Their funding is being impacted by an exhaustion of state and federal funds right now. So they're lacking about $26,000 to be able to continue the meals for our seniors in our municipalities and in the county right now. That's $26,000 just for Elbert County, okay? Now, that is just what they're lacking for May and June. So they sent a letter just advising us of this, okay? They serve on average of about 400 meals per month at a cost of $21 a meal. And I know the seniors give a nominal amount, what was it, like $5 per meal,
Yep.
okay? So that's their cost to them. And so it costs about $8,400 monthly to provide those meals.
Who provides the meal?
So the East Central Council of Governments, they have a grant, a rolling grant from USDA that funds the people that cook the food, the facility to make the food in, the fuel costs to deliver them, the staffing to deliver them, all of the things that go into providing those meals to our seniors in our municipalities. So the letter was an advisement that they're probably not going to get meals for May and June because of this shortage until the fund is replenished in July. Okay. What they figured was it would take $16,000 in order to maintain those meals for May and June. So we got the letter and then we got an email to the same effect. And my proposal was there's 3 municipalities and a county on there that they're providing services to our seniors in. My proposal was we each split that and pay $4,000 of that, so they continue getting their meals in May and June until that fund is replenished and they can go back to being able to fund those fully. The county has agreed to come in and pay $4,000. I have not heard back from Elizabeth yet. And then I got a correction from them today that Simla, as a municipality and part of Elbert County and the only other incorporated municipality, were given like a courtesy notification. They don't necessarily have any seniors in this program. So Simla wouldn't be part of that shared cost at this point because they have nobody that benefits from that program unless they so choose to pay into it. And I haven't got a response from them. So silence is my answer in that manner. But
What about reaching out to local churches?
I'm not sure what they do. And I'm not sure if they can take money from, there's a lot of legalities
Right.
around this program and how it works.
Food banks?
A lot of the seniors already get a lot of their name staples from the food bank.
Yeah,
Here.
and these are meals that are made. They're,
These are the hot meals that get delivered. And the school,
Yeah, I was gonna mention the school.
the school's been delivering meals on the off days that they don't have their luncheons over here at the senior center.
okay.
The school, and I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Well, that's
separate.
donations also.
that's a
I have
private,
donated to
yeah,
that-
Yeah.
To the Kiowa School and then Melissa Crippen.
Right.
yes. That's a private effort by them, yeah. So I don't know, I just found out about Simla before your meeting, okay? So I don't know what that looks like, but while it is within my ability that you've given me to approve that, I wanted you to be aware of the situation, what the request is, what the impact is of not sharing in that cost. And they are still working to try to obtain money from different sources. But as of right now, this is the situation. Okay.
So it's $21 per person
Yes.
and the seniors pay $5.
They pay $5 toward that. Yes.
Sounds expensive.
Oh, I said that like gas goes into.
It's what?
Nothing is
Delivery
purchasing
costs.
policy. It's under your charter. It's a gift. Or grant, which requires an ordinance separate.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. Under your charter, remember what we had to do with Kiowa Main Street for the gift?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So your purchasing policy gives you authority to make purchases for the town, on behalf of the town, and contracts for the town's work. But it doesn't mean they can't approve the expenditure. We would just have to do it, I believe, through an ordinance
Okay.
per your charter.
Yeah, but we don't have public comment right now. So there's a procedure and the mayor runs the meeting. So the mayor needs to decide if she wants to take comment or not.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take public comment on this at the moment. Marjorie.
Farmers State Bank and Mountain View Electrical Association both have $5,000 grant programs that in the past, because they cover like Eastern Buttons, community pantry and so on. You can request something in a week later.
I know from a previous meeting that money was already sent to ECO. Okay, go ahead, Kim.
That's all I had on that.
Okay, so do we wanna, go ahead and make a motion to put this into an ordinance for the next meeting. So that we can help fund the seniors.
Yeah, let's have some.
And you don't have to do a motion to have it put in ordinance, so it can just give us direction to get something that you can take formal action on at the next meeting.
Right,
And I'll double check to see if we have to do this one by ordinance or not.
okay, double check for us and let us know.
Is that a time sensitive thing? We need to do a special meeting to approve the ordinance, to approve the gift, or can we just do it next meeting? Is that money time sensitive?
I don't know what you're doing, Kim.
No, I'm waiting for Josh to answer that.
Yeah, I'm looking real quick. Okay, so charter 14.05 bequests, gifts and donations. The board on behalf of the town may receive or refuse bequests, gifts and donations of all kinds, charitable. Hey, I have to read the whole thing. May receive or refuse.
I find it hard to believe with civil.
Yeah,
there's
there's so many. people
That's a
Yeah.
crock. That's a crock crowd.
Well, that's-
But I mean, at the same time, if we look at just kind of a proper. How many people is it really, I'm not.
I know we have a
I'm
lot
not
of people.
trying to go there, but if we look at the ones that are inside of the town of Kiowa versus the ones that have a Kiowa address. I'm sure it's very,
Very different.
right, I mean, we do have the manner. But for similar to say, well, we don't, they're full of.
So charter section 14.05,
Still have a,
subpart 3.
Well, folks, don't.
yeah,
Says the board shall provide in each annual budget for the amount, if any, of money that the board may have available to donate for public, charitable, or other purposes. So we would have to amend the budget. Any gift or donation the board may make on behalf of the town shall be by ordinance. So we would have to have an ordinance and we would have to update the budget to include.
Is this different from
funds.
sponsorships and donations that we've budgeted for?
So you have the sponsorship and
We
donation
can-
already in the budget?
We can do like we just did today and increase that sponsorship donation,
Yeah,
but it's already a budget line item
it
as a
says
sponsorship donation.
any gift or donation the board may make on behalf of the town shall be by ordinance. I mean, it's pretty clear. So we would just have to do it by ordinance is all.
Okay, at the June meeting. Okay.
For it to be. And that's your charter. So
Yeah.
you can't overdo it by
didn't they
ordinance.
need the money for May and June?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is the time sensitive? Do we need to have a special?
Is there a
meeting?
way, I don't know, is there? I don't know, Josh, are they able to approve it and then ratify it by ordinance at the next meeting? The look on your face, that makes you very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Just
it
tell
sure
me.
does.
But it's coming.
We're gonna have to have a discussion about ultra vires one day. And what that means. So basically, you're asking if you can go ahead and do it and it be ratified at the next meeting, and that would be.
So I will say this, I have not
It's an
exhausted my donation sponsorship fund
Yeah,
for the year. So if we have the funds in that budgeted line item now without amending the budget, and then we get sponsorship donation requests subsequent to this, then we would need to revise the budget.
it's the problem that says any gift or donation the board may make on behalf of the town shall be by ordinance, so. I
So
read
are you
that to
saying
really say
every
that-
single sponsorship we do, we have to do an ordinance to it?
So.
Cause we sure haven't been doing that for,
Says,
ever.
it says what it says, and that is.
Well, how
For
much
donate,
money?
available to donate for public
4,000.
charitable or purposes. I mean, can you do it and then have them ratify it by ordinance? Yes,
that makes you so,
it's not the best way to do that, but it is. What does happen, especially in situations where. In this kind of case, that there is a need for it before their next meeting.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Well,
So, allow this, these funds to be made as a donation or gift and then ratify it. Would that, cause us any future issues until then?
No.
no, you just set a precedent.
Yeah,
That's his biggest.
yeah, and also it's how much of a concern is there that someone will come out of the woodwork or from the public and say that you're misusing public funds because you didn't follow what the procedures require, which is to actually put it in the budget as an amount that you can use, and then to actually do by ordinance an amount to an individual
Is it like,
organization,
could it be like an emergency situation?
an emergency ordinance. It's no, there are emergency ordinances. You have a procedure for that. It's just not on your agenda for tonight, so
Right.
we wouldn't have it. But in the end, what would happen is Kim, you would do the donation, and then we would have to bring an ordinance to the next meeting that would basically ratify the action that you did.
Let me ask you this,
A
Josh,
weird procedure. thing.
because how this has happened in the past and has always happened in the past is things like this have happened, and then we've always at the end of the year when we do approving the mill levy, we do budget appropriations at that time. So we don't do them 20 times throughout the year, amending the budget when things come up. We do them, we've always, and that's not because I choose to do it that way. It's just the way it's always been done.
Mhm.
The appropriations happen by one ordinance at the end of the year. When they approve the mill levy, they approve budget appropriations, and they approve the next year's budget.
They do those by resolution,
Okay.
which is what your charter allows.
And we've done them by resolution because we're not moving them amongst funds. We're just taking from the general fund and increasing that line item.
So at the end of the year, when you're approving your budget for the next year,
That's how they've always
You-
done it.
yeah, you do that at the public meeting, which is required, and your charter expressly pulls out that budget, the appropriations for funds next year, and the amount that you do for the real property or for the tax amount is all done by
Mill
resolution.
levy, yeah.
But when it comes to having to do additional appropriations, your charter says you have to do that by ordinance. And the reason why I think it does that is because that requires you to do it at a public meeting
Which makes
and
sense.
provide public comment. The donation part of your charter, which is a little bit different, it's saying that you have to include a line item in your budget for an amount. So let's say your budget says $30,000 and it says donation on the side. That's covering the first sentence. The second sentence then says any gift or donation the board may make on behalf of the town shall be by ordinance, which to me really reads as saying, if you want to do $4,000 for that fund, you have to approve the actual conveyance of the gift by that ordinance. Comes out of that 30,000. That's how your charter reads. I can't control.
And that's, no, I get, and I get it. It's just, it's
No.
interesting having somebody interpret the charter now instead of just doing it. You know what I mean? We've just always done it that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if at some point it was interpreted that way and that's why it was done that way. But if you as our legal counsel, whose job is to interpret our charter and our code and give us direction based on that, say it needs to be done this way, then it needs to be done that way.
And I'm saying in this situation, if the money needs to go out now, so that way it can be funded for the very important cause, then in this situation, you might spend those funds and then do an ordinance that ratifies that action.
Or would it make you feel less cringy if we do a special meeting?
I mean, a special meeting is always better. Because then you're actually doing the action correctly and you're not doing it ultra vires. Yeah.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
You know, that special meeting, if not all of us can be here, be Tim via Zoom.
I don't have internet, so I can't do Zoom.
You got internet.
You're around the
Oh,
corner.
Yes. So is,
What's
are
the,
you guys all in for doing just one special meeting so that you?
I know, I'll hear about it later.
And then you can help
That's fine.
fund this, okay.
Yeah.
What days are good?
can we do it in person?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
what day?
None of them are feasible, but
Somebody can't.
just
do
pick,
it in person.
just pick one.
Well, when can you do it?
If you saw my schedule for the next 6 months, you would know.
Well, we have to do it right away.
But Trevor could, what he's saying is he
saying
could
he
join
could
us
be
via
here.
Zoom. He just won't be in person. He'll be here.
That's fine.
Okay, so when would you be
Can we do it?
ready?
No, you gotta post it 24 hours ahead.
I'm sorry.
When is this needed? It's by the end of the month.
She did not give me a deadline.
Okay.
Cause she gave the letter to us and rather than everybody just sit there and ignore her and act like it doesn't exist and that then they just don't get meals.
Right.
Cause a lot of them rely, that's the only hot meal they get.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Can we do it Thursday?
Yes, Thursday. Okay, this Thursday.
Like in 2 days?
Like in 2 days. Let's get her done.
Can we do it in the evening?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Well, our attorney needs, can you be there via Zoom, Josh, instead of driving all the way back in here from Greenwood?
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually more or less thinking of the OML timelines. So I was like,
The who?
okay, open meetings law.
Oh,
So we have to publish the agenda 24 hours in advance and give public notice of it.
so it has to go out tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
which we have to have the ordinance drafted.
Oh,
It's due
yeah.
tomorrow.
There's that little nifty piece right there. That's what the whole thing's about.
You have time?
Can we just, so we don't kill Josh, can we just set it for next Tuesday?
We'll put lunch on his desk.
It's okay.
Poor Josh.
I can do it.
Sure.
Next Tuesday.
I have an ordinance in place from
Connie can't do next Tuesday.
Main Street, so
Oh,
I have a template that
There
I
you go.
can use.
Okay.
I can't do next Tuesday.
I just need to make sure it gets to y'all.
So Thursday. This week, Thursday, the 14th. Josh has a template. He said he'll go ahead and.
I'll be driving.
And what time? Same time?
Yeah.
Would say 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
True. Trevor,
I'll be on the road.
You have to work until 7? Yeah. Okay. How about if we say 7:10? Sure. 7:15? What'll work for you guys?
That's fine.
Okay.
So where we're at.
Okay. Okay. 7:15.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna have a special meeting.
Thursday.
And will that be
And it
just
won't-
here?
Yeah.
be here or on Zoom, Connie, if you can't be in person.
Sooner.
Okay, I know.
Messages and I can see.
Here you go.
But it would be like a half an hour, maybe?
At the most.
It would be the only thing on the agenda, so
Yeah.
literally you come in,
There's a
there'd be,
special.
you talk about it, there'd be a motion, you pass it, it's done.
Are you looking at the charter?
You could be done by like
Right
7.
now I'm looking for special meetings to make sure that there's not an additional time period needed.
There's not.
Okay.
Our charters, we know this.
Yeah.
If we got nothing else positive out of our past experience, we know
We can do
that special meetings can be noticed in 24
And are you
hours.
gonna
Yeah.
send Haley a message about it? Yep.
It would go out the same way it does to the sunshine list, to online and to you guys, yeah. It's gonna be a very vague agenda. It has one thing on it.
So we're going to,
When do you need to do the funds by?
I'll have to ask Candace tomorrow.
'Cause your ordinances are not effective until
10
10 days
days
after
after.
publication, so it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be an emergency.
I don't know, I'll have to ask Candace.
Okay, let me know, because that will
But-
impact how I draft it.
Okay,
Cause next week, we're pretty busy next week with meetings and stuff.
yes, we are.
And the weekend after is Memorial Day.
I know.
and
It'll be okay, just breathe.
I won't be at the June meeting, I'm going out of town, so I don't know, I told Sasha, but I don't know if you remember.
It's okay.
It'll be okay.
Where are you going?
On a cruise to Costa Maya and Cozumel and.
I'm going home.
Okay, so we'll have the meeting, you'll get all the information out to us, will you be okay with that?
Yes, I will make it happen.
So now we,
Do not worry about me.
no rest for the weekend.
Oh, but we do.
Okay, how about Public Works? Anything?
So what I've asked Ted to start doing is give me a synopsis of what our public works department's doing.
Mhm.
You know, I know you all see them everywhere all the time, but I thought it would be nice for you guys to know what they're doing in your town, because sometimes the things they're doing are very significant to a lot of you. And Ted does a lot of significant work now that he's come on.
It's amazing.
He is We're coming up on our loss audit report or loss audit. My brain just left my head.
Our insurance.
Our insurance audit. And they gave us a nifty little packet of issues they have around town last year that they would like to see fixed with pictures. It's wonderful.
Like out, now there's a little sign that says muster point,
Yeah.
because they decided we couldn't get out of the.
Building and know where to go as grown adults.
Yeah.
So,
Now there's a sign.
Ted has taken that list and he's hitting it one by one in preparation for that. And so they've been working really hard. They've taken 3 loads of mulch over at Fawn Valley, and just Tim and Mendez are spreading it all around. They need 3 more to get it up to grade where it needs to be. So there's a lot of work going on over there. There's a lot of drainage problems that are happening everywhere. So they're working really hard at correcting the drainage problems in the alleyways and the parks, and correcting some concrete problems that are a result of some of that drainage problems, especially over on County Road 45. And it's significant because I've had to hire contractors to do this stuff in the past that have cost us a lot of money. And to have a public works duo, I should say, that can do it for us now has just been amazing. They just take the reins and they run with them, and they've gotten so much stuff done for us. And they do a lot of work for the water authority now. Our help, our IGA with them says, you know, our staff will be there to help them in a lot of the areas, and we've not been able to offer that help. We charge them under the contract for it, but then we've not given them any help with it. And the Wolf guys have been training the Mendez and Teddy, and they've taken over a few of the duties on a daily basis, so that can reduce the cost for the water authority, which helps reduce the cost to you guys, you know, through your water bills. So it's just kind of a domino effect. When you have an effective team, it's beneficial to everybody.
Do they get paid substantially? Do you feel they're?
I think they're paid a fair wage. Could they be paid more? Yeah. By Kiowa? No, not right now. We have a benefit in getting Teddy to come over to us as a retirement job, you know, so he didn't ask for a whole bunch to come over. He likes Kiowa a lot, and he saw a lot of potential in Kiowa to do some good work, and that's why he really wanted to be here.
I trimmed all of the trees
Mhm.
down. You know.
He stays busy. Grass does not grow under his feet
We never.
No, it's crazy.
ever.
I want to say kudos to him for getting down there at that where the pond is by Mona's.
You mean the
Yes.
intersection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been out there.
Yeah, he takes
faithfully
his tractor.
leveling that out and
Mm.
keeping it nice. Yeah.
He's been working with Scotty down there this week with drainage problems that Scotty's having out of that lot down there. So he is very
He's so
present.
He's
Well,
very
yeah,
smart.
he's very proactive. He's very present with the citizens, the business owners. And that helps the town create very positive relationships with them. So yeah. Some of you guys work all day long, so you don't get to see the things that happen during the day. And I just like to be able to bring it to your attention what they're doing, you know, out there. For a lot of years, we didn't have it. And it's great having it now. So that's all I got right now.
Okay, move on to our consent items. We have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. I'll say aye. Okay, so we got those. I don't have to do both of them, right? No.
No, ma'am, just one.
Yep.
Okay, and discussion communications, Josh? Sales and use tax ballot question for general election.
Yes, Sorry, I was already working on the ordinance for the gift fund. Trying to move us forward. Sales tax and use tax. So, as you know, that has been on the ballot for a couple years in a row. There's a fun little thing that we call the Fair Campaign Practices Act. Basically stuff the town from expending pretty much any public funds on any ballot measure, or municipal ballot measure especially, once it is referred to the public. One thing that Kim and I talked about at the end of last year was the town is stopped from spending in public funds when the statutory trigger happens, which is once y'all refer a ballot measure. So if you want to do sales tax or use tax again, that's when the trigger happens, you can't. Doesn't say you can't do anything on the front end. So if right now you were interested in actually doing some kind of campaign or flyers or putting word out there on what you would want to be using your sales tax increase for, promoting the ideas of it, getting a general feel from the public on whether or not they would even be interested in supporting the work that the sales tax would come from. You would not necessarily be falling underneath the violations of the FCPA. But it would be something you'd be needing to do pretty quick because our deadline for giving notice and referring ballot measures is I think it's actually in August, but they were requesting July.
Because we work with Elbert County, we do a joint thing.
Piggyback on there.
Piggyback, yes, so they would like to know,
Yeah.
so I have to let them know if we're going to be. Putting those on.
And so I can give you that information on FCPA from a legal standpoint, but I would turn to you on the sales tax use and, I wasn't here last year when y'all were really talking about it. So.
What do you mean, turn to me on it?
Like to provide more information on why y'all were looking for the sales tax last year and what y'all
Oh.
use it. And
I'm like, why is he looking at me?
Potholes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had, it goes right back to the infrastructure, it's easy for, like the discussion we had last year, it's easier for me to seek grants that will help cover a state highway than it is to seek grants to cover neighborhood streets. And as I tried to educate last year before the election, a 3-block stretch of a residential street to completely mill and fill it is 6 figures. It's not a nominal amount, and if we don't have the money there to make those types of improvements, they just are going to sit there annually undone. And that's just the situation we're in. We're still in a situation where Kiowa is looked at as somewhere that developers possibly are going to want to come develop. And that's where the use tax comes in. We have building permits, and right now, Kiowa only has a 1.5% in sales tax and 1.5% in use tax. That is extremely low compared to neighboring municipalities. And it hasn't been raised in decades. So the cost of things keep going up, and the revenue you're bringing in to improve them is staying the same. And so nothing is going to ever be changed in that regard unless the community comes in and finds the value in it. They want it bad enough, then they'll see the value in increasing those things. So raising sales tax 1.5% is so nominal compared to what you could do, you're looking at maybe about $100 in sales tax annually. If you take 100,000 project cost on roads and you apply a 1.5% to that, it's nominal. I just don't understand it. But I do get people who, I do understand everybody who's, it's more money out, more money out. Everybody's paying more money out. I get that. It's a valid argument, but something's got to give.
at least goes to the mirror. It's also people who travel through are paying sales taxes, so it's not just
Mhm.
here.
It's right.
Yeah.
But the town's ability to expend public funds on an education campaign for your residents.
It's very
or-
limited window.
Yeah, once you as a board, if y'all are like, you know what, this sounds like a good idea, we think that we need to increase our sales tax by 0.5%. So 1% to 1.5% to 2%. Once you pass the ordinance that refers that question to the ballot, you can no longer expend any public funds on educating the public. Except for a very limited situation, which is basically putting together the like state blue book that you get that provides very neutral, here's one side, here's the other, I take no opinion. Yeah,
You
there's
can't
no,
have any town hall meetings about it. You can't
it's very limited. on
can't
what
do
you can
anything.
But if you're on the front end and you're wanting to do an education campaign that's basically putting out the information, you can. But you as the board would have to basically be on board with that and, tell us to take action to do those kind of steps.
So we need to have an ordinance in place to put it on the ballot in July? Is that correct?
I would have to double check the dates, but yeah, I think so.
So we need to have a town hall.
Because
in June.
there's a very specific calendar
Okay.
and
It's very
so
rigid.
yeah, it's very rigid. There is no, like, you miss a date, that's it.
Okay.
And they count backwards. It's like 30 days from election date and 17 days past that. And I mean, it's very specific.
So can we possibly hold a special town hall meeting with the general public?
To get a
Or-
consensus. I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea
Yeah.
if they show up.
That's what I was gonna say is.
Yeah, because we all went to our meetings on the CDOT, and Kinley Horn doing the engineering, and look at how many people turned out at that. There was.
Yeah, but this is to raise taxes.
I know, but
Oh,
still,
no.
same kind of scenario,
And then
though.
we're-
A lot of people don't want to participate, and I don't know why, but they will complain.
They'll come to.
But even flyers
want-
and
Yeah, we could do
mailers
flyers
and
and-
notices. I mean, all of that expends public funds and you can't do that once you do your ordinance. That falls under the FCPA issues. But doing them now and getting out the word and explaining to them and providing them that,
What would the
Info.
incentive be? Like, we're gonna improve roads. I mean, we need to make.
The ordinances we passed last year said the difference of the funds, like, I think we put on there to raise them by 1%.
Yeah.
So the 1% increase went directly toward all the roads and improvements to infrastructure.
Cause that was the biggest complaint we got was potholes.
And, the shits of it is. You right here,
Mhm.
that was repaved. 86, and it was after they redid the water lines of the town. And they cut across, they finally repaved it all, but that road.
How
is-
about it?
If I blindfolded you and drove up and down that road in my pickup and blindfolded you and drove on the crap roads that were done in 96,
And
you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, so now we need to just put that forward to our people who live here in town and say, okay, this is what we need to do to help us get the extra money from these other grants so that we can improve our roads here in town. Cause I, for one, driving on the roads over there in Fawn Valley is horrible. I agree 100%.
Keeps everybody slowed down though,
Yeah.
but nobody's, the only thing about this one is, man, doesn't
Yeah.
do that great a job slowing them down, but it does.
Right, so should we go ahead and move forward with this and,
Yeah, we gotta
maybe
try.
make some public service
Please.
announcements?
Just,
I think it would be a really great idea if we made a small video to put on our website.
Yeah,
Okay.
thunder.
What do you think about that?
good time with that.
Sasha's a videographer.
Yeah.
She did that for the school.
look at it,
I don't have a problem with speaking.
Okay.
So if we
can
can
totally
get
do that.
together,
Mhm.
we'll do that.
Yep.
And anybody else that
I
would.
got it, but
So,
You have time to crunch the numbers to see how much.
There's also
How much-
consulting agencies that this is what they do.
Yeah, the school did that. That one did work for them very well.
Yeah,
It was pretty bad last year.
I mean,
then don't.
honestly, what
No, they hired a
Yeah.
consulting firm to do it.
it. Until enough people that are our neighbors agree that we need to do something, and that is what we need to do to fix it. It ain't gonna happen.
it's very
But-
minimal.
But I mean, it really, I know it's minimal, you know it's minimal. But I could tell you from the former mayor in that whole area, none of them, that will be 100% no. Zero zilch no.
Yeah.
You go down, you have a better road, you'll probably get them all to vote for it, because they're tired of hearing every trailer hit every pothole.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll be over there.
Yeah.
But honestly, what it takes is like, Lona, I mean, everybody to get every neighbor on Shasta Court to go, the only way we're gonna fix this is we gotta do this.
Well, I think there's
And
an
it-
educational aspect to it too, though, Trevor, and I'll tell you why. They're trying to make people understand last year what a use tax is used for. That it really can only go back to improving your infrastructure or maintaining your infrastructures, you know? And despite me saying that, I had a group of people who were going around telling people they're trying to increase your property taxes. They're trying to take more property taxes. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with property taxes at all. And I think it's putting your face out there and educating people as to what a use tax is, how it's used, who gets charged the use tax, because it's not the only people being charged a use tax are ones that are getting building permits and buying materials for building, re-roofing. And again, that 1.5% is so nominal on a $120 permit
But-
cost, you know, but they add up.
But it really does, it takes out one-on-one conversation,
Yeah.
and it's.
To override
The
that.
only reason
yeah.
Albert Schools has a new school is because the school board president and vice president spent between them, they had 100 dinners, 100 suppers in people's houses going, this is why we need a new school. That was the only reason it passed.
Right.
And because they lived in the community, they've been there for years entrenched. That is the only reason. Kiowa doesn't have a chance in hell because they have none of that. They don't have that. And the ones that were entrenched, they go to Elbert. This is honestly, if this is to happen, this is where it has to happen. But it takes us face to face with everybody, and it's this street. Fawn Valley, I mean, everybody on Shasta Court, I mean, they hammer their teeth out,
Right.
but,
Whole block parties.
but to try to,
Real
But agreed.
to try to do a,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
any other, if you try to do
It
a
is-
town hall,
Yes, that's exactly
I did
something
that last year and
But
I
people-
put those on social media and that's how they responded back.
Do
Do with what you've
agree with
got.
that 100%.
We don't want to pay any more
They won't
money.
care.
You're
It's gonna
lying. That's
be
not what it's gonna be used
8
for.
feet tall in their yard and it's dead.
I don't know what to
And that's
do. I
why
mean,
When I first got on. the board,
it's not a whole bunch of people.
You've got to change.
A couple.
A couple.
So you don't need to worry.
But if that couple are louder
You know, and I'll.
than others, you know,
I was so impressed with
Yeah.
how clean that
As long as you
town is for being a railroad
them
and farm
understand.
town. I was like,
yeah.
it's clean.
And then they
And
go,
they come
well,
home
they're
and I'm
always
looking
loud.
around going, wow.
I'm gonna vote yes because
It's-
it's been
you know, I
explained
like
to me
schools now.
that how it's
You
voted.
know,
Yeah.
it's 79,
I could see
so
maybe an increase of,
It
you know,
was.
I think of, you know,
Ted has done a lot.
$100.
Right.
It is
For the
amazing
entire
how
year,
much
yeah.
better
Yeah.
it is.
And
The
then I,
parks and everything.
yeah, I can't wait for us to get the, sidewalks redone. So anyway, so should we go ahead and,
sure.
Yep.
make a date?
We got
Do
it.
we wanna make a date now? Do we wanna, for?
You said it has to be done when,
By
You
by
gotta
the
get
end of
all
July,
that before
right? You're gonna
July.
double check?
Yeah, I can
Ordinance.
check and let you know.
Okay.
I think block parties are a great idea, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
that's a really good
But
idea.
all of the time and all of the expenditures have to happen before that.
So in June, we would have to hold a,
Oh,
So let's do it, so let's think about it and get some dates and then we'll revisit this at our special meeting.
okay. That'd be great.
Are you ready to go home? Oh,
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Hold on.
okay, hold on. I gotta make a note.
Hey, guys.
Jonathan, Trevor.
Jonathan, thank you.
Okay, one's a motion, one's a second.
yeah, sure.
The quickest motion in second.
Did we have any,
Got my extra.
applications for the town board